Oh, yeah. 4 pre-rolls for a special return episode. Start your free online visit today at hims.com if you need a little boost in the bedroom. That's hims.com/JRVP for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/JRVP. The products mentioned are chewable, compounded products which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Excited about our new sponsors, Wild Grain. Impress your guests with minimal effort this holiday season. This episode of JRVP is brought to you by Wild Grain. Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box, plus a free item in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/JRVP. You heard me. You can go get $30 off your first customized box when you go to wildgrain.com/JRVP or use the promo code JRVP at checkout. I already ate a ton of Wild Grain. It's one of my favorite sponsors we've ever had. It's delicious. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JRVP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JRVP. And finally, got a lot of printouts like an old man. If you want to go pick some games, thank you to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Download the app today. Use the code JRVP to get $50 instantly off after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code JRVP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run the game. Long time off, but 4 pre-rolls means we haven't lost any sponsors, just like we haven't lost our friendship. We've got Anthony's favorite comfort movie, Dead Influencers, and our top 10 books of the year in episode 252 of the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. JRVP.
Junior Vice President.
We're going to be the liberal Joe Rogan.
It was like getting back on the horse. That was tough. I was flop sweating halfway through that.
You did great. A lot of pre-rolls. I'm glad I don't have to do it. Apologies for being off for so long. I feel like we could have changed the outcome of the election if we had been here. I know a lot of podcasters got involved. Notice I said podcasters. I did not say comedians. A lot of podcasters got involved. Look, if you have a presidential candidate or a major politician on your show and you do not fuck with them in any way, you're a podcaster. You're not a comedian. If you cancel an entire weekend of shows at the very last second so you can run yourself to Washington, D.C. to interview a vice presidential candidate and then post a picture of your arms around each other, you're not a comedian. We put out offers.
Yeah.
We put out offers. We told Kamala, we said, come into the Burbank studio, the old Burbank studio. We'll give you 20 minutes, talk about whatever you want. Never heard back. We told Elon Musk, we'll do a Zoom call, 25 minutes. We'll ask you questions about the Tesla truck. Everybody wants to know. We talked to Trump, Greg and I, for an hour in here, and then Aaron forgot to hit record.
My bad, guys.
It was his bad. Listen, we're not going to get in the election too much. The Democrats, who I consider myself to be a part of, shit the bed so hard. Shit the bed. I'm not even mad. 8 years ago, I was mad. This time, I'm like, okay, this is where we live.
Yeah.
If you can't beat that guy, if you can't put up someone who beats that guy, then this is the country we live in. I get it. Okay. But we did our part.
Right.
We offered Waltz 4 hours of calisthenics with us on camera. He turned it down. We offered Colin Powell. We told Colin Powell he'd come in and do whatever he wants. He can wear whatever he wants. Never heard back.
Well, because He's no longer with us.
His wife could have come on
That's true. That's true.
as a tribute to him,
Sorry, you're right.
and it didn't happen.
Dick Cheney, we were gonna do that watch along of the movie Dick or whatever that movie is about him, and just the two of us watch it. Vice, and we like comment on it and release that as an episode. That would be fun.
I told all the Cheneys to come in here. I said, I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I want you in here, and I want to talk about the election, and I want to sway it. And don't fucking tell me that had anything to do with it. Don't fucking tell me that if Kamala had gone on Rogan, that it would have changed anything. And listen, if you're making $200 million a year, who do you work for? That's what I'd love to know. Who do you work for once you have fuck you money? Because you work for someone. And I think it's weird. And it's not comedian-like. There's podcasters, there are comedians, and I don't think they're mixing anymore. I think you're one or the other.
That worries me about the future of the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project.
JRVP. Junior Vice President.
We'll get into that in notes. But I can give you a spoiler. I took the word podcaster out of my bio when it came time to promote the special. I've been doing a lot of press. I did a lengthy several interviews with New York Magazine, Vulture, if you will. Greg talked to Vulture. My mom talked to Vulture. My dad talked to Vulture. It's terrifying. I've never had an in-depth profile done of me like this before, and I'm sure it'll be great. The journalist is someone that I trust very much, and I have a relationship with. I'm a fan of her work. She's a fan of my work. But until I get to someone reads it and tells me it's okay, I am nervous. Having a journalist talk to your mom for 45 minutes is nerve-wracking. I was like, Mom, what did you say? What did you talk about? And she was like, oh, I told her how you get your dark sense of humor from your dad. I'm like, that is not true. That is a lie. And then she's like, and then she asked for some pictures of you as a little kid, so I sent her pictures of you as a little kid. I'm like, what pictures did you send? Oh my God, why did I trust you to do this? So once that comes out, I will relax a little bit. Once the special comes out, I will be able to relax. I love the tour so much. I hope that the special is a representation of how much I love the tour. I've watched it several times. I cannot watch it again, but I'm excited for November 26th when people get to see it. I'm very, very excited for that. Europe was amazing.
Wait, hold on a second. When, you're up there now moving forward, that your mom revealed, essentially, you've just been doing a Tony Jeselnik impression this whole time. And, in his, really caustic sense of humor, and he always has those twists at the end of his jokes that you've just doing an impression of Dad this whole time. How does that feel?
I told my mom, I said, what are you talking? Why do you tell people that? Why do you say that? And she's like, well, whenever your dad would make a joke, you would laugh so hard. And I'm like, yeah, because Dad never made jokes. Dad never made jokes. My dad had so little of a dark sense of humor.
That's why it's funny to
that
anyone
he would
that knows
not
your
let
dad.
us watch The Simpsons. He thought Married with Children was like a show from hell. That he had no dark sense of humor. And then I emailed the journalist and I was like, listen, I heard my mom told you I got my dark sense of humor from my dad. That is libel if you print that. And then she interviewed my dad and she was like, I'm happy to say I believe you. You did not get your dark sense of humor from your dad. My dad sounded like he was very funny in the interview. I'm looking forward to it. But it is nerve-wracking knowing that all these people talked about me, and I don't know what they're going to what they're going to actually publish, but we'll see. But Europe was amazing. I knew Europe would be more fun than the Australia, Asia, India trip just because it was more shows. We had fewer days off. It was pretty much a full sprint through. Biggest surprise was how much I enjoyed having my parents in Europe. They came, they told me I invited them. I did not invite them. They told me they wanted to come to see the show in Zurich and then come to Munich and come to Berlin. And I said, okay. They said, we're getting up there. We don't know if we can do this next time. This will be your chance. And I was like, great, let's do it. It's for you. but you're nervous. You're nervous. You have to deal with your parents. You're on the road. You're not your best all the time. It's a lot of travel, a little bit of sleep, and it was the highlight of the whole trip. It was great having them there. It was great getting to kind of bond with them, walk around Zurich, walk around Munich, good conversations, good meals, a lot of schnitzel. They got to see the show in Berlin, which was one of my favorite shows of the whole tour. I'm thinking I might even take my next special in Berlin.
Wow.
Because the last time I was in Berlin, the first time I went on the last European tour, they were like, no one goes to Berlin. I was like, I want to go. Just send me to Berlin, whatever I have to do. And I performed to 100 people sitting on the floor in like a little black box theater. And it was a great show. It was so much fun that my opener and I, Mo Welch, immediately went out and got tattoos to commemorate how awesome the Berlin show was.
Of what?
Just a little lightning bolt. We went a little punk rock thing we got it in Dublin. It's not even. It's the worst tattoo I have, but it's perfect. It's like tiny. It's like not filled in all the way. The guy didn't give a shit, but I love it. And so that was really fun having my parents there. And then this Berlin show was like 1,300 people in a sold-out theater. So it was great to go from, I remember what this was the last time, and now it's gotten this much bigger. That was really fun. The only negative of the trip would be the Glasgow airport. I was taking a flight from Glasgow to Athens. And tell me if this is a crazy story or if this is legit. Because I've told a couple people, and depending on your level of fame, this is either a horror story or I'm making too big a deal out of it.
What would you describe my level of fame as?
Like medium rare.
Okay, I'll take that.
Like I'm well done. I told Kumail Nanjiani he's like a burnt steak. He was like, oh my God. But a few people have just been like, oh wow, that sucks. I'm sorry to deal with that. But let's see how you think. And Aaron, I want you to chime in too. I do a show in Glasgow. It's great. Listen, London was insane. London was like one of the best shows of the whole tour. Manchester, Glasgow, the entire UK was fantastic. And then the next day, I have the travel day. So I'm all chilled out. I know I'm just flying. I get to the airport, and TSA comes right up to me. And the first thing they say is, Anthony Jeselnik, huge fan. We were at the show last night.
Wow.
We. Not I, not one TSA agent, all of them. Let's say there's 7 of them. Huge smiles on their faces. We were at the show. I'm like, that's great. Thank you for coming to the show. And they say, hey, listen, we have to randomly search one of your bags. I'm traveling with 2 other people. And we have to randomly search one of your bags. And I'm like, okay, they're going to pick one, whatever. Then they go, which bag is Anthony's? Big smile on their faces. And I'm like, not putting too, like, when you tell me you're a fan, I'm kind of on my back foot a little bit in that I want to make you happy. I want it to be a good experience. It's TSA. So I'm like just doing whatever they want. And I'm just like, oh, that's the red one. And they're like, okay. And I'm thinking maybe they're just like putting it through special or something. It's like, whatever. And then they come back and like, you need to open up the lock on the thing. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, wait, why? And like, oh, we have to search one of your bags, and we chose yours. And instead of being like, well, that's not random selection, that's you wanting to go through my bag, I like do it, and I go to walk away like pissed off, and they're like, no, you need to stay here and watch us. Like we can't search it without your presence. And I'm like, all right. They do it differently in Europe. They don't just go through your bag and look around and be like, oh, it's not like, oh, the X-ray showed up a cord, let me look for it. They take out everything. They unball my socks.
Yeah.
Ball them back. They take coats out of the lining and like check all the pockets on the coats. And I'm getting mad immediately. And they start to notice I'm angry. And they're like, oh, sorry, we have to do this. And they're like, maybe they do a little bit differently in America. And I'm like, yeah, in America, they're professional. And then everyone's scared. Everyone's scared. And they bring in other people to help at this point.
What do you mean other people?
Like other TSA agents, all of whom were at the show, by the way, who are all watching this. They don't take my bag into a separate room. It's right there with all these TSA agents with big grins on their faces trying to joke around with me. And I feel like this is a violation. If you're security, you can go through my bag. I've had them go through my bag. That's fine. If you're a fan, you cannot go through my shit. That is a violation. And the only thing illegal I have in my bag are too many leather jackets. I have no drugs. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I went to Europe totally legally, but I'm furious at these assholes going through my shit. But I want to get on the plane. So I'm just boiling. I'm mad at my tour manager for chilling out in the lounge while I'm going through this and not being there. Because if she had watched it, I probably wouldn't be as upset. But me having to be there and them not realizing what was upset, I wanted to scream, listen up, you starstruck cunts. You can either be big fans or you can go through my
Episode
bag
title.
like this, but you can't do both. And instead, I just fumed until I was ready. And then I finally get to walk out. And as I get through the little, like, I show him my ticket, I'm going to get in. The security guy's waiting for me. And he won't let me pass. And he's like, I really am a huge fan. I loved the show last night. And I'm like, that was not the point. That's not what I'm upset about. Get away from me.
Oh my God.
And then sent an angry email to whoever pays their checks to light them up. In America, they would never would have told me they were fans. That made me mad for, I would say, the next week. I was thinking about that. My parents chilled me out. The girls I was on tour with, the tour manager and the opener, were terrified of me for the last 2 weeks because I was like hoping,
Because of that, or that was just the thing that...
because I was
set you off?
angry and I'm a silent angry, so they're just kind of like uncomfortable.
I know, but were you silent angry primarily about that incident, or were you just...
I was
kind of
silent.
angry?
It was that incident. I thought it was a humiliation. It was a violation. I was very angry, and they took no. They weren't like, we're sorry, we fucked up. It was just like, we did this, this, and this. We had to do this, and it was like they're leaving out the bad part. I did get some money back from the airline, but they were like, we don't control TSA. We're like, we take your complaint seriously. We're very sorry, but TSA is a different thing. What are you going to do? I'm not going to sue TSA, but I was pissed. I was like, I had nightmares about it. Pissed.
Like, were they making jokes while they were, like, taking out stuff?
They
Like,
were trying
hey,
to. They were.
Hey, some, like, here's some chocolate. Like that joke you had in your first special.
One
Shakespeare.
guy's trying to make jokes. One woman is just grinning ear to ear, watching me be furious. And my dad, I told my dad the story, and he was like, "Do you think they were looking for drugs?" And I think that if they were such fans, if they had found drugs, they would have put them back. I think they were just excited and wanted to go through my bag. And it made me so angry that I did not get over it for quite some time. So my parents being there was a delight. I got to forget about it. I got to get away from my opener and tour manager for a week and just hang out with them. But if you had asked me if I would love having my parents there, tolerate it, or hate it, I would not have guessed loved it. Like, loved it. It was fantastic. That was a highlight. And then all the shows were great. There were a couple that were a little weird. One was in where was I? I can't even remember that. There was a place where the guy who owned the theater died, like a week before I got there. And they tell me this, and I'm like, I don't care. He doesn't have to be at the show. I don't need that guy there. And they're like,
He's not
no,
invited.
he donated the theater to an orphanage who's taken it over. They've canceled all the shows. You're in a much bigger theater now. And because I'm in a bigger theater, they're just giving away tickets, and it's people politely staring at me. I wish I could remember where I was. I want to say Indonesia, but it wasn't Indonesia.
Wait, what? The guy died a week before and donated it to an orphanage, and they already changed the whole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
They're like, we're tearing it down. You're in this other theater, huge place. Everyone's polite, but it was just like, oh my God, you guys are watching a TV show in a language you don't understand. Last show in Oslo was amazing, and I'm sad now. I'm sad that I don't get to do these jokes anymore. I'm just waiting for the special to come out. But I'm very excited for the release of the special, for everyone to get to see it, to rewatch it. I think 5 of the best jokes I've ever written in my life are in that special. I think the first 10 minutes is brilliant, and I think there are clips from this special that are going to go viral, if you will. I think there's going to be discussions. I think I've got some press lined up. I've got the Vulture piece coming out. I've got a couple of podcasts I'm going to do. I'm doing Marin next week. I'm going to do Tom Papa's podcast this week, and then very few others. I think an article for Cracked I'm going to do, but I've turned down a lot. Bad Friends, I love you guys. I don't want to deal with your bullshit. I might go on Bill Simmons. We'll see if Bill Simmons ever fucking gets back to me this time. We have the same publicist, so it fucking should happen, but we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith. But then I think once the special comes out, I think I'm going to get a lot more requests. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what I want to go on. I may have gone on Rogan before just to have the conversation. I don't think I would now.
So are you saying, because those shows sounded like they went really well, but you were very good retelling the stories. That's more of you as a podcaster. Would you say like maybe you could become a podcaster again?
I would like to channel the energy that I use in the podcast into just pure stand-up. Listen, this tour has been hard on me. My back for the first 3/4 of this tour was pure hell. Whatever was going on with my hip was pure hell, where anytime I was sitting down, I was in pain. Where I would get to the city and I would just lie in the hotel bed until it was time to get up and do the show. Every show, I felt great. Standing up, I felt great. Flying, traveling was pure hell. Europe was a little better, but I was exhausted. And this tour, it's definitely the biggest tour I've ever done in terms of number of shows, in terms of length. Everything about it was hard, and I want to get back to it. I'm going to do it a little differently next time. I was surprised. Berkowitz was surprised at how well the tickets sold, in that, in places where I'd be doing 2 shows, I was doing 4. In places I would do 1 show, I was doing 2. That maybe next time, let's make the venues bigger. Let's do 1 show a night and keep my sanity, because the tour was fucking hard. I got back. I couldn't believe how much weight I'd lost over the course of the tour. I'm guessing 30 pounds in 2 years from when I started to where I was. I'm putting it back on. I'm eating a lot of fucking eggs. I'm getting there.
We were worried.
But I'm going to be on.
I mean me and Emeka. You're telling me when that first week back it sounded like it was brutal. You're going through withdrawal of like missing the jokes, but also you're not taking care of yourself, and yet you want to get back to it. Like your immediate reaction to all that is like, I can't wait to get back to all that.
I want to get back to it. I want to get back to it with the new hour. I would say that the way comedy is right now, I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'd like to utilize that chip. I want to put it on fucking green, and then spin that wheel. That's my gambling metaphor. I don't really know. I'd probably lose all my money on green, but. I want to get back, and I want to get back to the way it was before, where I am in good shape when I start the tour. Previously, I'm like working out. I'm with a trainer. This time, I was like working out with a fucking chiropractor, trying to get my shit together. And now I'm much, much better. But physically, it was an effort. It was difficult. I lost a lot of weight, and I would like to put it back on and keep it on for the next one.
I want you to be able to enjoy it though, because I do think. The physical stuff that takes a toll. Maybe that's inevitable. Maybe you kind of like the pain of it a little bit. It's like proof of how hard you're working or something. But the story of being so upset about the TSA people, which I do understand. I'm probably more like very rare in terms of my level of fame, and as your friend, I can't understand how that would be so invasive and it would make you very mad. But I also wonder if just you were in a foul place, and so something like that happening set you off a little bit more. And I don't like to think that you're in a foul place while you're doing this thing that you love more than anything.
Listen, I love the shows. Every single show, even shows that like didn't go that well, I still loved. Like I was on a store. I went to go buy. I buy new things. I did buy new writing utensils and stuff for every new hour. So I bought like a new computer. The new laptop this week, and I went and bought a new pen for myself. And I'm in the pen store, and this older couple comes up, and they're like, "We saw you in Hamilton, Anthony Jeselnik. We saw you in Hamilton." And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like talking to this woman behind the counter, and they come up and they're like, "We saw you in Hamilton. Like we were at the late show. Everyone was really drunk." And I was like, "Oh, no, like, I was fine." I was like, "The early show was just so much fun, but the late show, yeah, they were drunk." And they're like, "You handled it really well. You're one of our favorites. Can we get a picture?" They asked the person behind the counter to like take a picture of us. And then they walk away, like, thank you for your time. They walk away, and the woman goes, "You were in Hamilton? I love Hamilton." And I was like, different Hamilton. I'm like, should I ride this wave? I've never seen Hamilton. I don't know if there's a white guy. Maybe there's a white guy in it.
Yeah.
Maybe she thinks I went blackface for it. But I was like, I'm sorry, you're thinking of a different Hamilton. I'm a comedian. This is a town. But maybe I could have gotten a free pen out of it. But no, that it was hard. That was difficult for me because I couldn't say anything because it's TSA. I know if I start yelling, I'm not getting on the plane. And I just so badly want to get on the plane and get out of there. And that they didn't understand. If they had been like, listen, sorry, we have to do this. We're going to do it privately. We're going to take it in another room. I would have been fine with that. But having everyone around grinning, knowing who I was at the show last night, that was a violation. And I was extremely, extremely upset.
I'm glad your parents were there.
You never would have known at the shows. You would have known. All the shows were great. I loved every single show in Europe, and around the world. Even the Taipei show, where I don't think they understood half of what I was saying. I loved doing that. I'm very proud of this new special, and I hope people like it as much as I do.
I have a goal now. I want to see you on this on a tour in Europe. Berlin sounds good. You have to schedule it, during the non-football season, but that sounds amazing.
We'll see.
Be there for one little leg.
And I think next time I'll do a couple clubs. I'll do half of the American tour, and I think in the summer I'll go to Europe, and then do the rest of the American tour, and then do Australia at the end, Australia, New Zealand at the end, and then be done with it. But figure out where I'm going to tape the special. I have a meeting with Berkowitz soon to be like, listen, let's figure out where we're going to do the special before we even start the tour. So I'm not just kind of looking at what's left over. Even though I'm very happy that I chose Milwaukee in that theater, I think it's going to be a different experience than what a lot of the shows were because of the way the theater is. It's a little more intense. I think I'm a little more on top of things. That I'm excited for people to see it and people to react to it. How was your last 3 months?
Very regular, very starting a new show, NFL Daily. And we talked about it a little bit the last time we popped up and just did a little surprise. But now we're in the season. And so, from when I wake up Sunday to the end of the day Thursday, I have 7 shows in between that. And so you're just working on the next one. And the second you finish one, you're working on the next. But it's been very satisfying. I feel very grown up. We're at the age now. We're at the, I don't know if it's peak is the right word, but I feel like I'm in my working prime and it's starting something new, which is very exciting. And the people I'm doing it with, it's all been fun. So I've just been super focused and doing it, enjoying it while I'm doing it. You sounded like you were enjoying your tour while you were doing it and you were aware of enjoying it, which I don't know if I always was fully doing in the past. So I've been enjoying that. Went to London. That was fun. That's always throwing a huge bomb in the middle of the NFL season of just going there for 4 or 5 days and worked for Sky Sports there. And it was really cool. All the listeners of the show that saw me, we were doing hits outside the stadium on a little riser coming up and saying hi and everything. And that's once you can get past that week, if you can do that, it's just good to feel like you can handle a lot. And I feel like now the game is slowing down for me. If I was a quarterback, it was coming at me pretty fast trying to do this new thing for a while. And I feel much more under control doing it and enjoying it.
And I say real quick, just real fast, just for me, I am in my prime. I am in my prime. Who was that, Aaron?
I know it, but I can't.
It's Nanette.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought it was for a second Mike Gundy, the Oklahoma State coach. Was I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah, it's 2 completely different quotes.
Yeah, just
completely different quotes.
It sort of reminded me of it. I also, I don't know if you noticed, I decided, it was a big decision for me. You've been changing up your hair and your style in general. You actually look more like a guy that could have been the white guy in Hamilton, so I kind of get it.
Have you seen Hamilton?
Could have been the kid.
No, I've never seen Hamilton.
Okay.
But just if I imagine that there was one guy in Hamilton, it might kind of look like you, I feel like.
Here's a good moment from the tour. Sorry to interrupt. I'm in London, and Noel Gallagher Ask for tickets.
Shut the fuck up.
Dead serious. Noel Gallagher says, hey, listen, like, we bought tickets, but we got them late and they're in the back. Can we get better tickets? And I'm like, fuck yeah, Noel Gallagher. You can get whatever you want. Backstage passes, tickets, we're good. I get to London. Again, hair's longer. I need a beard trim when I get there. Best beard trims in the world in London. Best beard trims in the world. I go to this place right next to the hotel. Guy does me up in like 15 minutes. It's the best beard trim I've ever had in my life. It's like a little more mustache, real short, everything else, but it's amazing. I'm thrilled. Next day, London show. We're leaving to go to dinner. We do the show. Show's incredible. Again, one of the best shows. Top 5 shows of the whole tour. I feel like a god.
It's definitely the show that I got the most JRVP listeners who just tweeted at me and was like, I'm at the Anthony show. Like a ton were enjoying it.
Yeah, it was 3,500 people, sold out. And the first time I ever did London, I've been 3 times now. The first time I was performing for either 100 or 70 people, 7 straight shows in this tiny little basement, the Soho Theater, every night, 7 shows in front of 70 people. All right, and I hated it. Every show was fun, but I was like, why am I doing 7 of these for 70? Why not just do like 1 for 600? The next time I went back on the last European tour, it was 2 shows, 400 people each show. This one was 3,500 people one night, and it was one of the best shows I've ever had in my life. It was incredible. So we're walking down the stairs to going to dinner, because I don't know if Noel Gallagher's coming backstage. I don't know who is. I'm just like, let's get out of here and go to dinner. As we're walking down, we see Noel Gallagher. He's walking up the stairs, big smile on his face. He's got a friend with him, and he looks exactly, and this is not an insult, like he has always looked. He's got the exact same haircut, no facial hair, just a little more wrinkles, but he looks exactly the same as he did in fucking the Wonderwall video.
Right.
And the first thing he says to me is, "You changed your look." And I laugh and I go, one of us had to. No one laughs. Everyone just pretends I didn't say it.
Oh, come on.
We go, okay, nice to meet you. Glad you enjoyed the show. We're on our way to dinner. He's like, yep, no problem. And his friend, as I'm walking by, goes, he's not the one with the sense of humor. I was like, that is so funny that Liam would have liked it. Liam would have been down, but no.
I've heard him be funny on podcasts.
I mean, he's at your show. You would think that's a good sign for a sense of humor.
I don't think he was upset. I just think he didn't either get it or like it. But I thought we all thought it was very funny that he would say that. But yeah, Europe was great. He was the only famous person that I met that came to the show, but all of it was fantastic.
So speaking of changing looks, like I was aware of a new show that came out. Kristen Bell is in it. Adam Brody is in it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes this is what it's called now.
Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this. And when that came out, I got a lot of people in my life and on Twitter saying like, "Oh, you really look like that guy Adam Brody," which I take as a huge compliment. I wish I looked like Adam Brody on the regular. And then, like, as that's all happening, getting that a bunch, and I got that when I was younger, maybe a little more since then. Maybe the vibe is similar, but I wish I was as handsome as him. And I know that to be a fact because as that's all happening, I go to my breakfast spot, and there's Adam Brody right in front of me in line that day, like, as this is happening. And I looked at him, and he's much taller than me. I mean, he's more like he's like 5'11" or something like that, and we don't really look alike at all. But I thought it was a sign that I need to try to look more like Adam Brody. So at that moment, I had very short hair and no facial hair, and I thought I'm going to start growing out my hair and growing facial hair to look more like Adam Brody, to like lean into the poor man's Adam Brody. And so that's what I'm on my way towards doing.
You know who looks more like Adam Brody than you do? Aaron.
Stop. Not the vibe though. Maybe it's the vibe. I don't know, but I'll take it.
I don't know what Adam Brody's vibe is.
It's just sort of like it's like a little Jewy.
He's playing the hip rabbi on the show.
He's like a sensitive guy.
I'll tell you, that show's got a bad title.
I know.
No one wants this. Every time I see a review, I just think they're just shitting on it.
I like the show. I'm halfway. I cranked through a bunch on the flight back from London, and it was great. It was enjoyable.
That's good.
I watched. I binged to get so like election eve, election night. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not doing any of this. And for a month in Europe, over a month, I've got no marijuana. And I get back for a week, no marijuana. And then I'm like, election night, I take some edibles, and I binge watch The Penguin on HBO Max. I'm like, I'm just going to watch this. Someone texts me an update. I'm like, I don't want any updates. Don't give it to me. And then I binged like the first 6 episodes and then checked the election results and was like, okay. All right. I guess Joe Rogan's, what do you call it? When you, I guess Joe Rogan's endorsement does matter.
We got it. We got to match him, though. The Democrats got to match him. We got to find the liberal Joe Rogan. We got to find our own Joe Rogans. That's what people are saying. That's the strategy that's going to win.
I hate when people say that. It makes no fucking sense. It makes no fucking sense.
Wait, but speaking of things that don't make sense, see, you were saying like, oh, we'll see if we do more than one JRVP or not. Look how much fun you're having. We've just been talking for so long. Just in case this is the only JRVP that we do again coming back here, I do want to get you to talk for 2 minutes about the commercials that Fox is showing to promote Tom Brady's broadcast booth career.
Okay, I love this. So I get back. The only thing I watch on TV is The Penguin and sports. I watch the NFL. And so I'm getting political ads out the wazoo. And for 6 weeks in Europe, I was blissfully unaware. I was blissfully unaware of any ads, any of this bullshit. Kamala wants everyone in prison to become trans and we're going to pay for it. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't know why she said it. I also don't want to hear it. And then there are the commercials hyping up Tom Brady as a new announcer. And they are the most unhinged commercials I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's the most famous football player of all time, arguably.
Yeah.
Getting him in the booth at all is a huge get. You don't need to publicize it. The amount of money they're paying him is so much that you don't think he would need like a whole ad campaign. But then the ad campaign is insane. It's Tom Brady standing there in a suit, and a woman walks by and says, "Tom, are you ready?" And it's the most in a way that you would ask anyone if they're ready before you start something. And Tom Brady has a psychotic break where all of a sudden there's 4 Tom Bradys and they're all yelling at him. They think you're not ready. They think you're fuck. And he starts like listing stats he's done, the things he's done. It's like, bro, you had like a 40-year run of being the GOAT. You can't chill. And then at the end they're like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And it's like, what is CBS trying to say with these commercials, or is it Fox?
Fox?
What is Fox trying to say? It's like, oh, Tom Brady's going to be a great announcer. Look how fucking mad he is. Why is he mad about anything? He's single now. He's got so much money. He owns a team and gets to be an announcer, even though they don't let him he doesn't get to really announce anything. Why is he so angry, and why would they sell him that way? Why wouldn't it be Tom Brady's happy?
Right. Why would anyone want
his
such
knowledge
an
about the
angry
game?
announcer?
Yeah. It's fucking nuts. And then I texted Greg and I was like, what is up with these psychotic break Tom Brady commercials? Who are these for? And he's like, no. And Greg explained to me this is a series of commercials.
They're on like the third one. The first one was truly the most unhinged, where he's at home. It's before the season starts. And little childlike versions of Tom Brady were like, we're like talking to him. It was like a horror movie saying like, "Oh, they don't think you like football enough? Like, you've loved football since you were like a little child. The football that you love is inside of you." And they're like fucking screaming at him. And it's completely insane. And I like what you said about it. It was like, why do the commercials seem designed to make him not seem confident? Like, he's got all these voices in his head that are like, "Oh, like, you're not that smart. You didn't even go to class at Michigan. Like, you have nothing to say. They don't think you're going to be good at," like, and it makes him seem like a fucking crazy person.
It does. It looks like he hasn't studied for the test, and now he's hyping himself up to kill it anyway. And it's like, bro, you're Tom Brady. We know you're prepared. We know you're going to be almost as good as Greg Olson. So just be happy with that. it's what I want to see, like a follow-up where it's like he's going camping with his kids and his kids are like, "Dad, you ready?" And he's like, "What the fuck do you think?" I'm always fucking ready. Like, you're insane, Tom. And Fox, you're insane. It should just been Tom Brady smiling with a microphone and be like, "Get ready to watch the GOAT. Get ready to watch the greatest quarterback of all time do this. If you like Tony Romo, then your dumb fucking asses are going to love Tom Brady." That's all they should have said. I don't know why he's so mad. Why he's so mad with $300 million. It's wild. And now it's time for Did We Get Any Notes?
Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes?
Look, let's talk about the podcast. Aaron's got something real fast. I don't know how many more of these we're going to do. I got to think we're on our last legs here. I talked to certain people in my life. I told my manager I think we're going to be ending this shortly, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I can tell." Most listeners, I think, could tell that I was running on fumes. And I'm hearing a buzzing, Aaron. Is that just me? It's gone now. And again, the state of podcasting, I'm disgusted with. I don't want to be a part of this. Even when I know our podcast is different, but even when I say that, I feel stupid. Like, I don't like being a podcaster. I don't like that in my bio, like JRVP is the first thing that comes up, because while I'm writing the next hour, this would be the thing we're still doing. And this is the thing. And listen, it's been profitable. We've been doing great. 250 episodes is probably enough. We probably could have ended it around 220, and I would have been a whole happy thing. The last 30 episodes, I've been furious. But listen, everything is on the table.
You're not furious. You were just furious, like, because you're on tour and you're jamming this in between.
Yes, but it's become repetitive. I've gotten sick of it. 250 is a lot. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with All Things Comedy, who I love. I love both you guys. I just met the new...
Equally?
Yes. Equally. I just met the new head of All Things Comedy, who I met once at Hulu when he told me that he could not put my special on Hulu because of how edgy it is. And now he's here. But listen, All Things Comedy would love us to keep running forever. And we might, Greg and I, all things are on the table. We might go back to audio. If I decide, you know what, I want to just do this from home and not come in here and not be like trying to feed fucking clips for the social media team. Let me shout out the social media team. I don't work for you. You work for me. You can find clips. I'm not coming in here just to get you a clip every week. That's not how it works.
Your social team, you mean?
My social media team.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Who do you think I was talking about? The All Things
I don't
Comedy
know.
social media team?
Yeah.
Are they your social media team now? Did you get that?
They're talking. We've talked about them helping us out at the NFL, but
Okay.
it's not official.
Okay, and maybe that'll happen. I've brought them people. My social media team loves me, or they fucking better because of the caliber of people I've brought you into the fold. But we might do. This might be the last one. I'll be straight up. This could be the last one. We might do two more. The one next week we're taking off. I don't even fucking know why, but we are. We're taking off next week. And then the following week we're going to do one right before the special that will air, before the special comes out, or the day of. We're going to tape it on a Friday. And then I think we might do one more in December to kind of recap. I want to hear from people who saw the special, hear from people who want to ask questions, celebrate the special, tell me that they're proud of me and that no one works harder than me. That'll be the time for that. But this might be the last one. The next one might be the last one. I might just say, fuck it. But I'm enjoying myself right now.
Yeah. So
As of right now, we're going to do two more.
right.
But that could change between now and the end of this episode right now. That could change between now and when we're supposed to film again next Friday.
Yeah.
And that could be the last one. Or we could do three. Maybe we do three and I'm like, you know what? I'm loving this again. I've rekindled my passion. We'll be back in the new year, audio only. Maybe we do it at Aaron's house. Maybe we do that. But everything is on the table. I got to think my days are numbered. I just want to be a stand-up comedian, and I want to focus on stand-up comedy. I'm not a comic who kind of cannibalizes their act for the podcast or vice versa. But I just think that if I just focus everything on the stand-up and the writing, that I will be happier. And that creatively it just feels like where I'm at. But again, everything is on the table. And Greg and I have talked. We might just come back in the summer. Don't leave the feed. Don't unsubscribe. Like, we might come back in the summer when Greg has off. I'm not doing a ton. And we'll do 3 months of episodes then. All Things Comedy will be down with that. They'll do whatever the fuck I want. They owe me from the Hulu insult. Aaron, what'd you have for us?
Well, speaking of the people congratulating you on how hard you work, I received some videos.
Well, explain, because there's no way Anthony remembers what he asked.
He just mentioned it. So that's
I remember.
why
I wanted people to don't tell me I'm funny. Don't tell me the special's great. Just tell me no one works harder and that they're proud of me. That's what I want.
Yes. I received submissions for that.
Then you know what? That's a reason to come back for one more at least. Because
I thought we were going to watch it right now.
If we run them
you
now,
want one now?
I have them now.
If we run them now, I think it's too soon. How long is it?
It's about 4 minutes.
Let's save it then. It is a good tease.
Yeah, let's save it. And if anybody wants to send more in, you can. And listen. If you can make me cry,
no, don't send more in. He's got the 4. He's got the 4 minutes he likes.
If you can make me cry, like everyone does when they see these dumb fucking things, then I'll do another year. I'll make it to 300. I
mean, okay. So to recap, first of all, we're every other week for the next 3 shows. Assuming we do these 3 shows. If we do these 3 shows, you could change your mind by the end of my fucking sentence. But yeah, at this point, I'm just saying it's regular. It's every other week for a handful. Yes, and we don't want to be like those bands. Now I can't remember what the name of the band is. Who's like retired like 6 different times. So we don't want to keep saying it's the last show. But we just leave it open ended. Maybe it's like a limited edition series where you come back for a spring season and you knock out some great episodes and because Anthony, I know you change your mind a lot about things.
But we're not doing a goodbye show. We're not. It's not like we're like, let's get all the advertisers for one last run, or like let's charge $10 from our fans to do one last farewell show. Like, it's a free podcast if you can just put up with Greg's ad reads. That I'm not worried that we're like taking something away. We can say this is the last one, and then maybe Greg gets divorced, and I'm like, let's fucking talk about that on the air. Maybe Aaron gets hit in the shin with a softball again, and we got to run in here and break it down. I don't know, but we'll save. I'll guarantee one more. I'll guarantee one more episode at least, 2 weeks from now, and we'll play the clips there. And if you make me cry, we'll go to 300.
Damn, maybe we should watch it now. I'm the one who just stepped. You were ready to watch it,
and that was. Did we get any notes?
Hang on. I have to unhook the audio for that.
Oh.
And that was. Did we get any notes?
Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes? Notes. Did we get any notes?
Now it's time for.
Ad copy.
It was LCD Sound System who I was thinking of. Like, they announced they were retiring 15 years ago, had the ending show.
They did it because they wanted to sell at the Garden.
Another ending show. And
Yeah, they wanted to sell at the Garden. He admitted, he was like, if we said it was our last show, we'd sell it out, and they did that. But we're not selling out. It's free. You're fucking lucky I'm here right. I could have not come back at all, and it wouldn't have made a dent in my Netflix numbers. I'm like, oh, come back and promote the special. Everyone who's ever listened to an episode of this podcast, whether your boyfriend put it on in the car or you just listen to every one, you're gonna watch that fucking special. I'm preaching to the choir here. I gotta get on Flagrant 2. And that's another thing. We will. The special is out on the 26th on Netflix. If you have a Netflix subscription, you can watch it for free. There will be a YouTube version. It's exactly the same, except there are bleeps. And in the middle of the special, I turn directly to the camera and read an ad. Read a 60-second ad. Because that's what comedians do. And what's their ads?
You got to come on NFL Daily if you really want to promote it.
I would come on if I could come into the studio. If they send me a car and bring me to the studio,
They're not
I'm not getting
sending
on
you a
Zoom.
car.
I'm not getting on Zoom
Well,
for anybody.
Just drive to Inglewood. I'll drive you. I'll drive over to your house and I'll be your driver. How about that?
Then yeah, I don't care who. I don't give a fuck who the driver is. But if I'm giving the NFL free content, I want a car ride there, and they couldn't do that.
That was
That's
last
why I'm
time
having
around.
my psychotic break. That's why I'm wearing 5 different uniforms, yelling at myself while I walk on the field on a nice day, like a fucking psychopath.
Maybe they would. Maybe they would send you. I don't know. I've never asked for that, but that would be fun to do an episode of NFL Daily. Let's talk about Wild Green. Oh my God, Wild Green. You know how I always used to beg for other sponsors to send me their product like over and over? Like Wild Green, send me your product. The holiday season is here. It's time to start baking delicious homemade favorites with your family and friends. Wild Grain is here to make you look like a baking expert without the stress. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Wild Grain, I bet Anthony did not fill out the form because he was in Europe. I did. It's the first bake from frozen subscription box for artisanal breads, pastries, and pastas. The boxes are fully customizable to your tastes and dietary restrictions. In addition to their classic variety box, that's what I got. They launched a new gluten-free box. They have a plant-based box that's 100% vegan. Best of all, they take the hassle out of baking since items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less with no mess or cleanup. I don't care about baking. I don't care about anything, but I love great bread more than anything in life. And they send you this frozen bread, and you just put that shit in the toaster. And my God, it's fucking good. And I just want that bread to be delivered to me and have it available. I don't have to figure out anything, and you have delicious bread at your house.
So do you bake it or you just toast it?
I don't know. You can do both. You can put it in the. There's different instructions for different items, but for me, I was fine just putting it in the toaster. Well, you can bake in the toaster. You know what I mean, right? You can bake
I
in the
do,
toaster.
but there's frozen
nice new
bread,
toaster I
and then
bought.
there's
Yeah.
dough. Is it dough?
No,
or
it's
is
frozen. It's frozen.
But is it in the shape of bread? Like
It
does
is bread.
Does it change shape when you heat it up?
No.
Okay, then it's toast.
What do you mean?
They've already baked it and then they froze it and sent it to you. If it's small and it gets big,
Yeah,
that's baking.
it's frozen already.
Okay.
Or it's baked. It's
You're
already
toasting.
baked. Anyways, it's freaking awesome. There was different varieties. They have pastries, of course, as I mentioned. You can pick whatever different types of breads you want. Anything that would be in the pasta or bread. The pasta was good as well. Anyways, it was awesome. I was like, this is something I will buy. Let's subscribe to Wild Grain. Impress your guests with minimal effort this holiday season. Wild Grain is offering listeners $30 off the first box, plus a free item with every box. When you go to wildgrain.com/JRVP, you heard me. You can get $30 off your first customized box when you go to wildgrain.com/JRVP and you use the promo code JRVP at checkout. The key, Anthony, was it fucking tasted good. It was like great bread. That was the key for me, that I was like, I'm excited to talk about a little Wild Grain.
I would do that.
Also talking about hymns. Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously. We always want to be ready so we can perform in the bedroom. Hims provides access to treatment so you can stay hard and last longer, giving you that boost of confidence you need whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare, provides you access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. The process is 100% online. No need for uncomfortable doctor visits. They have hard mints. It's doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra, and Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Answer a series of questions on their site, and a provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/JRVP. That's HIMS.com/JRVP for personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/JRVP. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with the healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
And that was.
Ad copy.
And now it's time to take it down to a place that's always toasted, never frozen. It's Email Corner.
Email corner. Emails are a thing.
Guys, for a couple months now, emails had not been a thing. And I apologize for that from the bottom of my heart. But guess what? They're a thing again. And they're always going to be a thing, no matter what happens between mine and Greg's relationship moving forward. Whether I never say another fucking word to Greg or his family, emails are a thing. We got 4 of them. One, I thought, hey, maybe we've done this before. We're going to do it again. Because that's how much I'm thinking about this podcast. Greg, go with the first one.
Yeah, and you are coming over for Thanksgiving,
I
so
am.
you will be talking to my children then. I hope so. And if you just
I can't
if
wait
you just
to
fucking
talk to your
ice them
children.
out.
I can't wait to talk. Listen, Walker, you send me pictures. He's getting bigger every day. Walker and I are going to start bonding over humor. You know, Walker almost came to the Tokyo show. Not almost. He was never going to be allowed, but he asked to come to the Tokyo show. And I asked your wife, is it because you think he's going to repeat what I say, or he's just going to get too crazy and be funny guy all the time? And she said both. Both those things. But I think some one-on-one time I can turn him into a real Joker. And Ellis, I want to break through the teenage shell of hatred for adults.
It's not
And be
there.
her
She's
friend.
very sweet. She's very sweet.
She's very sweet, but there's a lot of eye rolls, Greg. And there's a refusal to admit that I am cool.
Well, that's an opinion, whether you are or not. And she has her own opinion. And teenage girls, they just get a bad rap. People, oh, you have a teenage girl. Oh yeah, teenage girls are the worst. Hey, fuck you. Your kids are the worst.
They've earned the
They're
rap.
great.
They've earned the rap.
Mine are great. The ones I know, they're cool.
She's mean.
No.
I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm famous. I'm on Netflix 3 times. She's got Netflix. She knows.
She doesn't give it up for
And
you.
she doesn't
or for
say she doesn't say you're not cool. She just won't answer. And even when I list the evidence of things that make me cool, she won't answer me. She just stares at me like I'm a piece of garbage. And I'm not. Teenagers think I'm cool. And I'm gonna make her bend the knee. And I'm excited to see your mom and dad. Your dad's gonna be psyched. He gets to hear me on Marin.
Yes,
I'm gonna give him a shout out.
He's a huge Marin fan. Let's get to the corner. Favorite comfort movies? This is the question. Mine is from our listener. Are Lord of the Rings, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, Avengers, Infinity Endgame, Matrix, Braveheart, Boss Level, starring Frank Grillo. I could go on, but those are a handful of my faves. Where are you going with this?
I thought comfort movies are always interesting. Do you have how many do you have?
A handful. I don't go back to watch movies that much. I always
You're
think
flipping through the channels. You see
Yeah.
you see Goodfellas is on.
Yeah.
You stop and you watch the rest of it. That's a comfort movie to me. You know, that's like an old school one. That's not on my. I got 3 on my list, but what's on yours?
Okay, I don't rewatch many movies. Phantom Thread, though, I rewatched that a decent amount. I always enjoy it. I can watch 20 minutes of that, and I'm into it. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I like going back to that one. I think Perfect Days, that movie we talked about, is going to become one just because
Yes.
it seems comforting, but I haven't made it one yet. And then anything by Greta Gerwig, pretty much to me, is a comfort movie, including the ones she co-wrote with Noah Baumbach, like Mistress America, and her own movies too, like Lady Bird. Those are my types of comfort movies. Adaptation is another one that I've watched quite a bit.
None of that surprises me at all. Aaron, do you have comfort movies?
Other than Wrath of Man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it can be in both our lists because you fucking know that's where I'm starting.
Yeah. Back to the Future, Shawshank. I can watch those anytime, anywhere I pick them up.
Shawshank's a good one. Back to the Future, I can't. I think they should have stuck with Eric Stoltz. I think they should have stuck with Eric Stoltz, and I think Michael J. Fox brought the franchise down. And listen, the third one is unwatchable. Part 2 is great. Part 1's a classic. The third one, where they're in the Old West, is unfucking watchable.
Nobody watches it.
Yes,
I love it.
My 3, Wrath of Man for sure. Especially now that I've been through that airport experience in Glasgow. Now I can kind of feel where he's coming from after losing his son during a robbery. That Wrath of Man, again, I might just go home and watch it tonight. I'm also going to add Michael Clayton.
Yes.
Michael Clayton
Shit, that might be the top.
a absolute banger, front to back, adult movie. Not like nothing super crazy happens, but you can just sit there and watch it and love it. And I think part of it is that there's so many unanswered questions. They don't give all the backstory. You don't know exactly why he's mad at his brother, but you get it. You know what I mean? That I love that movie. All the performances are incredible. I think it's George Clooney's best. And my third one is Passport to Paris. That is the Olsen twins movie where they have to keep a secret. And I can watch that up until they can't keep the secret anymore. Then I lose it for some reason. But I really love the first half of Passport to Paris. But yeah, Wrath of Man, Michael Clayton.
Michael Clayton's a good pick.
It's a great one. And again, Shawshank, Shawshank's almost played out now. You've seen it too much, but I will still sit and watch Shawshank Redemption. Never seen Green Mile. Haven't seen a second of it. Don't want to.
That's good.
All right, Anthony, a few months back you performed on Adam Ray's Dr. Phil show. You had him shaking the whole time. You have yet to bring that up. Would you please talk about your experience?
Okay, Adam Ray does a character where he plays Dr. Phil. I know Adam Ray. I'd say he's a friend of mine, a friend I don't know well. We become friends in the past year or two. Been around each other, but just started talking in the green room. I did his podcast probably 2 years ago now, and that was fine. We got that clip out of it where I say my least favorite sound is children playing. That has performed better than any clip of any joke I've ever done ever, which is a weird thing. But I got talked into being on his Dr. Phil thing. Bill Burr had done it, and they were like, Bill Burr enjoyed it so much. That was the first time they ever did it, that Bill Burr came on again. And I was like, okay, it must be really fun. And then after I did it, I found out that Bill Burr was doing them a favor coming back. That Bill was like, all right, okay, fine. But I did not enjoy it. And not because of Adam Ray. I like Adam Ray. But I didn't really know what I was getting into. I'm in a bad mood when I get there because I'm in season. I'm on the road. I'm not going to the Comedy Store. I'm sitting at home. But instead I have to go into the Comedy Store. Not even to do a set, but to do this. So as soon as I get there, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this. And then I sit down and listen, Adam Ray's great at Dr. Phil. He's great at Dr. Philling. It's very silly. It's very goofy. And I'm like, okay, this is just going to be a goof around. But then he'll be goofy. And then he would turn to me and be like, so how do you write your jokes? And
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why am I answering? It was weird for me to answer a question seriously in that context. And so I was kind of taken aback and just started kind of making fun of him. I don't know if Adam Ray enjoyed having me on the show. And again, it didn't hurt our friendship, but and maybe it's evolved and now it's a little more silly. Before it just seemed like he gets to do all the silly stuff and then I'm like answering questions about how far comedy can go. And I'm like, I don't like this vibe here. But again, I think it's my fault. So yeah, I'm on it. I think there's one clip they got out of it that I look furious in when I'm making fun of him. But I did not enjoy it, but through no fault of Adam Ray. I saw someone online ask, am I upset that Adam Ray as Dr. Phil, talking to Dr. Phil, is going to be a Netflix special the week before Bones and All comes out? As if I would ever feel threatened by that.
No.
As if that would not be... there's no special that would come out around the same time as mine that I would feel like was taking away, except maybe a Chappelle or a Bill Burr or a John Mulaney. Any of the big Chris Rock. I'd be like, keep those guys away from me. Let me have my moment. I've got my moment. All right? You can watch Adam Ray's special and then sit down and think about that shit for a week before my shit drops. All right? I'm not worried about that thing competing with me at all. I also don't know if Dr. Phil is at the height of his powers right now, but we'll see. I wish nothing but the best to Adam Ray. I would say all of this to Adam Ray's face, and I think he knew it in the moment, but I did not enjoy it.
I would disagree with just one thing there. I don't think Dr. Phil's ever been better. It's like he's the center of the zeitgeist. He loved this election result, and he's got his finger on the pulse, and I'm looking forward to what's next. Dr. Phil, I'm a big fan.
You don't think it's weird that he gave a speech at a Trump rally and said that he had written the same speech for a Kamala rally, but Kamala wouldn't return his calls, so he had to do the Trump rally? You don't think that's the dumbest fucking thing you've ever heard in your life?
I do.
I didn't know that one.
Speaking of Trump rallies, does anybody want to ask me about Tony Hinchcliffe? Does anyone want my opinion on that one?
Yeah. What did you think for the week where Tony Hinchcliffe was getting shit on, but then it didn't matter at all?
I think it was very funny. Again, in a way of not the way Tony wanted it to be funny. And no one mentioned that. Everyone's like, that joke was out of bounds, that he shouldn't have done that. I think that as a comedian, especially, I think maybe in all art forms, or maybe in all of life, the most dangerous time for you in your career is right after you've had a big success, because you get real amped up and you want to do it again as fast as you can. I think he did that roast of Tom Brady and got real high on himself. And again, I'm not going to like point you to the interviews, but like Google Tony Hinchcliffe interview in the past like 4 months. It's fucking insane how out of control his ego is. And again, like, you're a performer, you get that out of control ego, ride the wave, enjoy it. I think he did a bad job of roasting. Like, if you were going to, like, let's say if Kamala Harris asked me to open up one of her rallies with a roast, which she would never do, ever. No one would ever ask me to do anything like that. I'm surprised that they asked Tony to do that. I think you would want to roast her opponents.
Right.
Maybe Russia. Not constituents. Not people whose votes you need. Like, it was disastrous from a like, of what you chose to joke about. Like, he just did a stand-up set thinking it's like the Tony Hinchcliffe show and just made everybody mad at him. I think it was a terrible venue to do stand-up in. He acted like he was just doing stand-up at Madison Square Garden, which he was not.
No one was laughing, which I thought that was what you were going to say, was he is there to, in theory, make people laugh, and that wasn't really working either.
I think they were confused. They were like, why is he saying these inflammable things, whatever, that are going to like hurt our chances? I think a lot of that rally was hurting their chances. But again, it did not matter at all. Do I think it's cool to open up a Trump rally? No, I do not. Do I think it's cool to open up a Kamala rally? No, I do not. Neither of those things are cool, especially not Trump. Nothing to do with Trump is cool. And I think he did a bad job of being like, I'm going to kill with these edgy jokes. You're not there for that. You were there to roast like Minnesota, and you did not do that. You roasted Puerto Rico, who's having a hard time. I love Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Ricans. So that was my take on that.
I love that. We've gone pretty long. Do you want to skip the Blair Witch question? Let's wrap up Email Corner. Here's a question saying we've hoped we enjoyed the time off from JRVP. There was news that Passion of the Christ Resurrection is being made, with Jim Caviezel returning as our Lord and Savior, Gibson as the dad director, and my first reaction was the desire to get Anthony's opinion on the matter. Is Caviezel doing this because there's no possible way to follow up Sound of Freeman? Is Mel Gibson trying to absolve him of his sins? Could this match Wrath of Man? Want to hear your thoughts, Anthony.
It's Sound of Freedom, by the way. That was the movie Jim Caviezel was in. Jim Caviezel's got radio money. Jim Caviezel's got the money from the movie Radio that he did with Cuba Gooding Jr. He's set. I don't know what he got for Passion of the Christ. He's good. I would like to see this movie, but only... I don't know if you know the story of Jesus. Okay. He gets his shit rocked in Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
And they take down his dead body. His mom holds it for a little bit. And they stick him in a cave. And they roll a boulder in front of the cave. 3 days later, they go up. The boulders have been rolled out of the way. Jesus is gone. I want this movie to be 3 days of Jesus trying to get out of that cave. I want it to be pitch black. And I want it to be Jesus being like, motherfucker. God damn it. Are you how fucking... I want it to be like 127 hours. Only he doesn't have a knife.
It's like Castaway, except I don't know what would be Wilson.
Have you seen 127 Hours? Where James
I didn't
Franco
watch
gets
it,
his
but
arm.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's going to be like that. It's going to be just one-on-one, Jesus versus the boulder, really trying to push it out of the way. And then at the end, he finally moves it and stumbles off. And then the apprentices, the apostles show up and they're like, and then it's to be continued. That's what I would like to see. It can't be a prequel because Caviezel's gotten older now. You know what I mean? He can't be young Jesus.
But the way the first one ended is perfect. If anything, this has franchise possibilities. I mean, the first one ends, he rises from the dead, and you're like, well, what was the point of the last 2 hours? I just spent all that time with you dying.
Does he
now
rise
he's
from
back.
the dead?
I that's what I actually did check out what's the summary of Passion of the Christ. I think so. I think you see him, like his spirit rising or something in the first one. I don't know.
That's not how I
remember
it.
we joked,
No.
and maybe we even went to it. Did we go together to see Passion of the Christ? I think we did.
I know I saw it in theaters.
I'm pretty sure I saw it, and the only way I would have seen it was with you.
I remember like Jesus is down.
Yeah.
They take him off the cross, and then one of the guards picks up like a big boulder and slams it down on Jesus' head, and then it just went fatality. And that was the end of...
I remember us thinking it was going to be somehow fun or funny, but it didn't really...
I remember what was
deliver.
funny about it was that they insinuate that Jesus Christ the carpenter invented the high table. That she's like, Jesus, isn't this table too tall? And he's like, look, this is how rich men eat with their elbows on the table. And she's like, oh, wow, what a great carpenter. And I remember thinking, like, why is this in the movie? Why did you put this in here?
I like the idea that he's back and he's taking vengeance. And then, set up number 3, I think.
If he's taking vengeance, I'm down. But again, if you tell me it's 2 hours of Jesus trying to move that rock, I'm in like Flynn. I'm excited about it. And that was Email Corner. Shine on, you crazy diamond.
And that was Email Corner. Diamonds around the world unite.
And now, once again, it's time for
Ad copy.
Oh, yeah. It's Prize Picks. I'm only supposed to say oh, yeah at the top of the show, but we're running out of shows here. I want to get my oh, yes in. Look, if you sign up for Prize Pick today, you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So look, it's football season. You got your Steelers coming up this week. Maybe you like the way that Jalen Warren's been running the ball a little bit lately. I'm thinking about picking him up in my fantasy league. He's just kind of floating out there, and he's getting better and better. And so you look at his matchup this week against the Ravens. The number's pretty low. Maybe it's 33 receiving yards for Jalen Warren, and you just pick over or under. It's as simple as that. More or less. And they might have the rushing yards for Najee Harris, 56 yards. More or less. You go through, you make your picks. It's the easiest way to do a little daily fantasy, daily sports, and it's available in more states like California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas.
I've just been watching the game and enjoying it, hoping my team wins like a fucking idiot. But with this thing, now I can really get in the game.
Download the app today. Use the code JRVP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code JRVP to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves we're trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that isn't easy. It's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. I know therapy has been very helpful for you, Anthony. If you're thinking of starting therapy, you can give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out a questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist. You switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Look, it can help you be the best person that you can be. It's not just for people who have experienced major trauma, but can help you make decisions in your life, learn positive coping skills. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JRVP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JRVP.
Give it as a gift. You're at the Thanksgiving table with your family. Pick your most fucked up relative and be like, hey, I got you something. It's BetterHelp. And then explain what BetterHelp is in front of your family. And that was
Ad copy.
Let's get to headlines.
Headlines.
Oh, it's headlines time, and we're starting in Kentucky, where State Senator Johnny Turner died at home last month after plunging into an empty swimming pool on a lawnmower. He was 76 years old.
76 years old. Listen, here's what I'm going to tell you about Johnny Turner. Johnny Turner was Jesus. I know we just talked about Passion of the Christ. Johnny Turner was Jesus in real life, and he got got. He got got by the people who want to take Jesus down, because that's how you get him. You tell Jesus to mow your lawn.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's Jesus. It's the Hippocratic Oath. And if he's mowing a lawn, he's not worried about the swimming pool. He can drive right over that motherfucker. You drain the water, Jesus got nothing to not walk on.
Okay.
So he's going right into the empty swimming pool with the lawnmower, dead. That's how you get him.
Right, because you would think the worst thing you could do would be to plunge into a full swimming pool in a lawnmower.
I wouldn't think that.
I mean, I would. I don't know. Could you get electrocuted? You'd kill the lawnmower at the very least.
I mean, I don't think it's like a plug-in lawnmower. It would definitely harm the lawnmower, but it's like that's
lawnmower's done.
Listen, you take a lawnmower into a full swimming pool, it's America's Funniest Home Videos. You take a lawnmower into an empty swimming pool, you're dead Jesus.
Wouldn't you drown? You know?
You can let go of the fucking lawnmower. It's not like you're strapped in.
I don't know.
I would think the speed of the blade makes that thing flip, and then you're. Sorry, bringing this up, but I think you're getting cut by that blade.
You think the lawnmower hits the pool and it just starts flipping around, like
Yeah.
it's in fucking space?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. I think it would be. I think if someone's in the pool, you could fuck them up by riding a lawnmower into it. If you're on top of the mower, you're gonna be okay. I think submersing it in water is gonna shut it down, unless you're Jesus. If you're Jesus, you're going right over the top of it, like he's used to doing. This senator. But if you're riding a lawnmower and an empty pool, you got to go around the pool, bro. You're in heaven now.
That's true.
Actually, senator from Kentucky. I don't know.
I mean,
That sounds like you're going to hell.
the article did have quotes from Mitch McConnell in it. This guy was a big supporter of Cole. The House Speaker of Kentucky, David Osborne, said, "We are saddened by his loss, but know that his legacy will live on in those he helped." And can you fucking believe the way this dude died?
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Imagine you're at his funeral, and you just hear a lawnmower, because you know at cemeteries they're always mowing that motherfucker. That thing is a golf course. They're always mowing something. Every time you hear a lawnmower, it's like, watch out for the pool, you old piece of shit.
Jesus.
How do you fuck that up?
Influencers in Brazil drowned during a yacht party recently after refusing to wear life jackets because they would ruin their selfies and tans, according to police.
See, this is we were at polar opposites. One is someone died because of no water, and now we got two people dying because of water. What I love about this story is that the cops must have hated them so much. Usually someone dies and the cops are like, tragic story, like, we're so sorry this happened. We did everything we could. Sometimes accidents happen. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families. They were like, these dumb motherfuckers didn't want to ruin their videos or their tans, and that's why they're dead. But to be an influencer in Brazil, you got to go that extra mile. Think about how hot people in Brazil are.
Yeah.
Everyone in Brazil is fucking hot. Giselle's the least hot one of the Brazilians that you got to die.
That's why she had to come to the States. She couldn't hack it there.
That's right. That's right. She had to start training jiu-jitsu, beat up all the people who were going to try to take her baby from her.
Maybe that's why she's so. That's why Brady's so mad.
Maybe they should put that in. They should put that in the commercial then.
The jiu-jitsu teacher pops up.
A pregnant Giselle, being like, "You can't call the games, Tom. My husband cannot call the game and play in the game and raise my new son."
It's a deep cut. Yeah, these women, they had pictures of them. No need to show it here. I don't.
It
think.
wasn't a guy and a girl. It was two girls.
No, it was two women. It was a boat full of women. There was actually 6 women. Only 2 died. A couple managed to stay on the boat one or two popped off but survived, like found a floating life jacket and was able to survive, and a couple just drowned. And the reason it came out, other than maybe the police wanted to send a message, was the captain was trying to save his hide, because they were like, this captain fucked up, but he's like, I was supposed to only take a certain amount, like 4 or 5, and they insisted that it would be more than that. It's why when we were trying to go to safety, like, we were too heavy and it was sinking. And so I think he sold them out and basically said, like, no, they wouldn't wear the life jackets. I was trying to make them wear it. And these two young, beautiful women are no more.
Look, I'm not a boat guy. I am a life jacket guy. If I get in the boat and they're like, put this on, I'm putting it on. But if I didn't have it on, I also get not wearing it. I get being like, you know what, I'm fine. I don't know how big the boat is. I'm comfortable. You would think if the boat starts sinking, you can grab one of those bitches and throw it on.
Yeah, that part, I don't know if it got knocked over or what happened, but someone, like, it was rocking and there's rocks. But it's pretty sad because, they're influencers. She's sending out pictures. So there's one of the ones that died, sent, like, a bikini picture from the boat, hours or minutes before this all happened.
You know who I blame? Mr. Beast. And that's another reason to get out of the podcast game.
I don't know anything about Mr. Beast really, but I did sort of stumble upon an article about it and people talking about some latest controversy, and everyone's just like, Mr. Beast doesn't seem to be enjoying himself as much as he used to. He seems miserable. Mr. Beast isn't happy.
I'll tell you what Mr. Beast has is the worst smile of all time. Bro, practice that shit in the mirror because you look like a fucking idiot.
A nightmare-inducing and beloved 16-foot statue.
He looks like he just got his braces off, and he's too excited to fucking let like a single one of those things go behind his gums. It's too big, Mr. Beast.
I haven't seen it. I haven't ever seen Mr. Beast, actually, I guess. But does he have the veneers?
No, I think he just does a big fake smile so that like every smile is the same, but it's like a big, like fake on purpose. He's a piece of garbage.
You got to get like the off-white or the slightly discolored veneers, because if you go too big...
It's not about the veneers. It's not about whiteness. It's like his mouth that he just makes his smile too big.
Okay.
Aaron, pull me up a Mr. Beast smile.
I mean, is that going to be easy? For instance, Freddie Freeman, hero, love him. The veneers are too much. It's like all you could see is those chompers coming from 20 feet away.
I don't even notice the veneer. I don't have like veneer dar. I don't know who's got them, who just got whitening in their teeth. I have friends always talking about getting them. It sounds like hell. With the way I grind my teeth, I can't even imagine sawing them down and putting those things on there.
I got one over my like broken tooth. I just have one, and it was painful as fuck.
But Freddie Freeman's a god. Yeah. Freddie Freeman, game 1. I watched the whole fucking series. I was loving it. Freddie Freeman, walk-off grand slam, bat in the air immediately afterwards. That's your fucking statue.
Yes.
That is your Freddie Freeman is a god amongst men. Shohei had a good series.
Well, not a good series, but good playoffs before that.
Good playoffs. He did okay. He contributed. It wasn't a total disaster.
It wasn't like Aaron Judge.
No. Aaron Judge shit the bed so hard. That's all anybody talked about. But Freddie Freeman, and who's my guy?
Mookie?
Mookie was great. Mookie was great, but Freddie Freeman did it all. Thank you, Freddie. Love you forever. Best of luck to your kids.
Here's Mr. Beast.
That's the smile. That's a smile he does on everything.
Yeah, that's not veneers. No veneers.
If you're listening to the Patreon, if you see in the Patreon, you can see it. That's the smile he does in everything. It's a bad smile. Get your shit together. Be coy. Be a little demure.
Mindful. I just think, speaking of the Patreon, just like the amount of content the Patreon's been getting while JRVP has been dark had to be tiring, and maybe is influencing your decision to step away from the podcast game too.
I didn't bring my Zoom setup all the way to fucking Europe with me to do Patreon content, not to have it be seen by the public. So sign up for the Patreon. We've made it more money now. But you can get more money back if you sign up a friend. Someone
who came up to me, I was mentioning in London when I was outside the Bears Jaguars game or whatever, there were some JRVP fans that came up, and one of them asked about the Patreon. I think they were serious. I don't know.
Love that people think it's a real thing. Like we would ever fucking do that.
A nightmare-inducing and beloved 16-foot statue of a hand that had a human face is waving goodbye after 5 years of disturbing the public atop a New Zealand art museum. We can take a picture, a look at it here. Anthony, if you're watching on YouTube, your thoughts?
It's museum, Greg. I don't know why. At first, I thought it was like the hamburger helper guy got buff, and he's like pissed about the way the government's going. But then I thought the reason people got so upset by the hand with the face was not about hamburger helper. It was like, this is about the evils of masturbation.
Oh, wow.
This is when you masturbate, that's what your grandparents are experiencing. Your grandparents are your hand, and they're facing out the back of the hand, not the palm, which you would think would be the move. But yeah, that is kind of horrifying.
Wait, your grandparents are watching you masturbate?
Mm-hmm. When your grandparents die, they go up to heaven and they watch you masturbate.
What?
If
they're on
if
the
they were
outs-
good enough to get into heaven, like mine were, mine get the show.
But it must be somewhat frustrating because they're on the back of the hand, so all the action's on the other side.
Yeah, it's just a blur to them. It's just going back and forth, but they know what they can hear. They can hear the soundtrack. They can hear what's going on. I think it's like the title of the piece. Do you know what the title is, Aaron?
No, I don't.
It's called "Masturbation's Gonna Bite You." Is the name of it.
I believe it's named Quasi. It's 16 feet. Made by this guy, Australian-based Ronnie Van Hoyt, and the city council member there, Ben McNulty, said it's either a great day for Wellington, them finally taking it down, or a terrible day for Wellington, and there's not much view in between. He said he's personally devastated. That at first he hated it, but then he kind of grew to think it was amazing because people just felt so strongly about it.
It's way better than corporate art that you see. It's way better than those weird ass sculptures that don't mean anything, giant fountains. It's weird. It's on the roof. It's not like you have to interact with it. It's not like you have to like crawl underneath its fingers.
But that's even better. It's better that it's on the roof than like as you're walking up to it, because like who the fuck ever sees like a smiling hand on top of a roof? It's amazing. I like it.
He's not smiling, but I do like.
Well,
it.
that's true. It is. He is unsmiling.
I actually went to an art gallery. I've bought a couple pieces of art in the past few years, and so if these galleries will get in touch with me and say, "Hey, we have this new artist we really like," and if it's dark shit, they're like, "We'll be in touch with you," and they're like, "This guy's got some weird like dark. I think you'd be into it." I'm like, "I'm in Europe right now. When I get back," they hold this exhibit for me. They hold it for like a week just so I can see it. And I go in, and this young lady is showing me around, showing me the pieces, and everything is kind of like dark and edgy looking, but just like weird. And it's almost like it's like old photographs that have been painted over, and it's kind of cool. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is nice. And then the more she tells me, the more I realize this is like an alt-right artist, and all the art is anti-Semitic.
What?
All of the art
This
is
in
like
L.A.?
Yes, and it was all, and it's like she was like, but the artist is Jewish, and I'm like, is it a commentary on anti-Semitism or is it anti-Semitic? And she was like, and I'm like, he's 24. It would be easier for me to believe that he is a self-hating Jewish person trying to sell art to the wealthy alt-right. And I know that's not the word we use anymore, because they get so mad when they hear, we're not alt-right, we're not Nazis, we just have all the same characteristics. Suck my fucking dick. All of you. I did not buy any of the art. I was like, I think this is actually anti-Semitic and weird, and I don't want to hear the stories behind these things. Get me the fuck out of here. I want real anti-Semitic art.
You know who wouldn't like that art is Adam Brody, a.k.a. Seth Cohen.
You know what he would like?
What?
Talk to the hand.
You know what time it is?
Last headline.
I did know.
Finally in the news, it's a tough one. A Wisconsin man has been accused of hurling an 8-month-old baby against the wall because he was frustrated about losing during an NBA 2K game.
All right, listen, I've never played NBA 2K in my life, but I've been around Greg. Remember when we first moved to LA, I sat there and watched you and Tamer play quite a bit of NBA 2K. You'd be like, hey, you want to go hang out? I'd be like, yeah. We'd walk over and be like, you guys mind? You mind if we play? I'd be like, oh yeah, I love watching people play NBA 2K. I fucking love it. It's my favorite thing to do. And I've seen people get frustrated. A lot of remote controls have been broken playing NBA 2K. All right, a lot of holes in the wall playing NBA 2K. I was a GoldenEye boy. I was screaming out no gun. I never threw a controller, but I wanted to. I want to know, had he thrown a controller before and he'd learned his lesson? Was he playing against the baby? And the baby was putting up too many shots and he was like, fuck this, I got to teach him a lesson? Because I got to think, if you're either throwing a controller or you're throwing an 8-month-old baby, is it your baby? That changes things.
It's his baby.
It's his baby. Okay. Then I think it's worse. I think if it's someone else's baby, you're playing NBA 2K, and you save the controller, I think you're all right. Is the baby okay?
No.
Does that mean it's in the hospital, or does that mean it's dead?
It sounds like it's going to die.
So it's got the red light blinking.
Is severely injured. They list the injuries. That part of it made it tougher, and I don't think it's gonna make it.
That's why I just read the headlines.
Yeah.
That's why I don't read the full article, because I like to make jokes about these things. What's happening to the guy? Is he under arrest, or does he have to just restart the game? Does he have to restart his season?
So yeah, he's in court now, and I think he's in a lot of trouble because he initially, as you would expect, had a completely different story. He first said the mom came home and the baby was not okay, and she was like, what the fuck, and realized it was really not okay. They brought it in. Initially, when the police talked to him, he said the mother bumped the baby's head on the door frame. Then he said that the baby fell while the diaper was being changed. And then under increased interrogation, he admitted that he did it because he was angry that he was 2 points down in NBA 2K, which I find a fascinating little detail. It did not say like he lost the game, but he was 2 points down. Like the other team, assume not the baby, just hit like a big shot to go up 2. So it wasn't even over.
Yeah. I mean, you got to play to the final whistle before you throw the baby. You never know. You know, it's not over till it's over, as the famous Yogi Berra once said. Did he like throw the baby on the ground, or did he throw it at the wall? I am picturing picking up the baby and throwing it at the wall.
It said at the wall.
Yeah. I wonder if he'd done it before and the baby just hit the couch or something, hit some pillows, and it was okay. It was his good luck thing. Or if he just really finally lost it. And did he finish the game?
I don't know. Walker has been getting increasingly into Madden. He has 2K as well, like the new version of NBA 2K. He likes the MLB The Show as well. And he always wants me to play Madden with him. But when I play Madden with him, like he wants me to be his teammate, but I'm not as good at him now because he plays so much that he just goes fucking crazy if we lose or if I'm letting him down, like running bad routes or not making a tackle. And so I have seen him throw the controller, not against the wall, but like against the couch, and do the thing where you have to slam it off like before you officially lose. And I don't like it. It's angry.
That's a teaching moment.
Yes.
I think you don't throw the controller, because listen, girls don't like guys who throw the controllers. They definitely don't like guys who throw the baby, but don't throw the controller. It's an anger issue thing. Don't punch the wall. You can say fuck maybe. Even then, I think you got to calm it down. But
Yeah.
I would not want to play a game.
I have
with a
not
little
played
kid.
actually
Play
since
against him.
this last time happened. That was only a couple weeks ago, but I was just like, this isn't fun, bro. You always beg me to play, and then you get so mad. I'm not going to be good. I tell you that to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not playing when we come
And if you
over.
had fucking hit that 53-yard field goal at the buzzer, we win. So don't blame it all on me. There were decisions that you made in the game management. I said I said, let's run the clock down here. Make sure they don't get the ball back. We're going to score either way. He just scores the next fucking play, gives them time to go make a play. That's not all on me.
Let's take it down to a little place I like to call
Choo-choo.
recommendation station. What if does Walker play wrestling games? If I bought a wrestling game for the PlayStation and brought it over, because that was fun. You don't have to know how to play. Everyone can have a good time wrestling. I don't follow wrestling anymore, but if I bought a wrestling game,
I'm sure he'd love it. I'm sure he'd love it.
All right, tell me what system he has, and maybe I'll do that for him. Now, listen, guys, choo-choo recommendation station. I'm doing our year-end top 10 list of books read this year. Listen, it's only halfway through November. I have read 89 books
Shit.
this year. I have read 89 books. 51 of them were released this year. So of those 51, I'm going to do my top 10. Last year I did them in no particular order, and then the social media team made it a top 10. So I'm going to do it an actual top 10, starting from the bottom. These are all great books, leading up to my number one. Or do you want to go first?
Go for it. You
Okay.
go.
Number 10, I'm going Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I love all of Sally Rooney's books. I love them all equally. I just enjoy spending time in Sally Rooney's world. I like this one a lot. I don't think it was better than any of her other books or worse than any of her other books. It'll make my top 10 list. I could have put something else here, but I wanted to give Sally Rooney a shout out. Intermezzo was a pleasure to read. Number 2, I'm going with a pandemic novel.
Wait, is this number 9 or
Number
two?
9, yes. Thank you, Greg. Number 9, I'm going Blue Ruin by Hari Kunzru. I've read all of his books. Red Pill I liked. There was something about white people that I really enjoyed this year that I read, but Blue Ruin was his new one. It's about a former artist, kind of drops out of the art world, ends up as like a door dasher during the pandemic, has COVID, goes to drop off groceries at a house, and the house ends up being his former rival in art school and his former girlfriend, who are now living together. And he ends up having to live with them for a couple weeks during the pandemic. It's great. It's great. It's a great pandemic novel, a great novel about art. I really enjoyed it. Number 7, The Bright Sword, a novel of King Arthur by Lev Grossman. This one I think everyone could get behind. It could have gone higher on the list. The guy who wrote The Magicians, which is basically like Harry Potter but with sex and drugs, wrote The Bright Sword, a novel of King Arthur. It's like a King Arthur story, but with a lot of fucks in it, and I loved it. It was so fun to read on the road. Number 6 is a novel called You're Dead, Yredead by Sam Sachs. This novel is fucked up. It's about a dude who lights himself on fire, and I believe the middle of Manhattan. And the entire novel takes place from after he sets himself on fire until he dies. It's like what's going through his head. It's super fucked up, and I loved it. Number 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6. Number 7 was You're Dead by Sam Sachs. Number 6, Rejection by Tony Tillathimut. I believe I'm pronouncing that rightly. Tulathimutte. It's my only collection of short stories on the list. All short stories dealing with rejection. All very timely, beautiful, heartbreaking. I loved this book. Number 5, Our Evenings by Alan Hollinghurst. This is a newer one. Beautiful. Just a beautifully written story about a fucking guy. Like, I couldn't even tell you what the plot was, but reading it, I was like, this feels like the reading equivalent of listening to a symphony. Alan Hollinghurst is one of the greatest writers living today. Number 4, a book called Help Wanted by Adela Waldman. Help Wanted changed the way I think about the world. Changed the way I think about the people who work in these big box stores, people who work in a Walmart or a Target. It was all about them and their inner lives, their hopes, their dreams, really gained empathy for an entire class of human beings in America. I could not recommend it higher.
I remember her last book, The Love Affairs of Nathaniel P., which was a very popular book at the time, like a decade ago.
I never read that.
It's good.
Number 3 is James by Percival Everett. A fucking banger. I think it's like a retelling of Huck Finn from the story from the character Jim. It's not that at all. It is so much more. I love Percival Everett. Every year he puts out a book, it will be in my top 10 list. This one makes it number 3, and as soon as I read it, I was like, this is incredible. I love the twist. I love the writing. I love everything about it. You can go in knowing Huck Finn. You can go in without it, and it's still one of the best books of the year, if not the best. Number 2, I know we got this on the same list. Martyr, with an exclamation point, by Kaveh Akbar. Incredible book. When I read it, I was like, this is my number 1 of the year. So hard. Could have easily been my number 1. But I feel like it's going to be a lot of number 1s. It is a heartbreaking book. Great twist. And when I say great, I mean you do not see it coming. And you're like, holy shit. It's incredible. It is beautiful. I think it may have made me cry. I don't remember. I read it earlier in the year, but it is a amazing book. And my number 1, I think this is an underrated book. I don't know if it's going to make a lot of lists this year, is The Heart in Winter by Kevin Barry. It's a Western. It's a romance. It is very, very funny. The most I laughed out loud at a book this year was one joke in The Heart in Winter by Kevin Barry. But those are my top 10 for the year in order.
Kevin Barry, he wrote something I had in the top 10 book a few years ago, wasn't it? A very good book. What was it called? Oh, Night Boat to Tangier.
Yeah.
Which
and
was also sneaky funny.
And I liked the Night Boat to Tangier, but not as much as I loved this. I read this one and then was like, holy shit, and then went back and was like, oh, he wrote that. But yeah, I loved The Heart in Winter.
Okay. I've got my top 10. I haven't read as much as you this year, but I have kept track. I'm in the 50s. I feel like I've kind of slumped, especially since NFL Daily started. It happens. A lot of little short books and a lot from the beginning of the year. Here we go. Number 10. And I don't just read new books. I read so many. I mostly read old books, I feel like. I mean, not from this year. That's just how I roll. So I'm putting those in there. It doesn't have to be a new book. And a lot of them, frankly, were on lists last year because I got around to reading them this year. I'm putting Chain Gang All-Stars here because I read it this year. Your number 1 from last year or near the top, I don't remember, by Nana Kwame Adejebrenya. Read it in January. Just wanted to give it love here. Future world where the prisoners are matched up in these death matches. It works. I think it works for a lot of people. Biography of X by Catherine Lacey. A fictional biography of like an art monster written by her ex-wife who essentially resented having her life taken over by this artist. Imagines also a completely different outcome of the Civil War. So there's a lot going on there, but it was so just fucking creative that it was amazing. It stuck with me, and also what it's like to live with a shitty artist on some level. Number 8 is my only nonfiction one, Some People Need Killing by Patricia Evangelista. I just thought it's like the most hardcore, badass example of reporting just about I've ever read. A journalist living in the Philippines during the former president Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. And it's just like so impressive that she even did this that I wanted to give it a shout out. I put James at number 7. It could have been anywhere. It's awesome. I'm actually in the middle of reading Erasure now, which is really awesome. I can't believe how much better it is than the movie American Fiction, which I also really enjoyed. That's a side point. You already talked about James, so I won't repeat it. But I would say about halfway through, I was like, ooh, is it going to all be worth it? And by the end, I was like, fuck yeah, it is. It's very hardcore. It's really great. Number 6 is The Ice Palace, a very short book by Tarjei Vesaas. This is a 1963 book by a Norwegian writer. It was recommended in a London bookstore I was in by one of the booksellers, like one of those things they write. And it is fucking awesome. It's a perfect book. It's about these 2 young girls who live near this frozen waterfall among the fjords in this remote part of Norway. I don't want to give away too much, but there's drama. There's a disappearance. The setting is pretty much the star here, and the writing is amazing. Like, on the back, there's one quote that's like, this should be required reading for every person. And it's like, it's by some famous author. And I'm like, I get that. It's kind of a perfect 150-page book and very dark. Very dark.
The Ice Palace?
The Ice Palace. I think you would like that one, yeah. Number 5 is Story in My Teeth by Valeria Luiselli. It's a very strange 2015 book by the author of Lost Children Archive, which also made one of my top 10 books. It's about one of the last auctioneers in Mexico who acquires Marilyn Monroe's teeth in an auction and then gets kidnapped and loses the teeth. And it's so fucking weird. And it knocked me out of a pretty long reading slump. And it's just funny. And I've never read a book like it. It's great. Number 4 is Small Things Like These, Claire Keegan. I just read this. It's about to be a movie. She also wrote Foster, which is perfect. I wanted to read it before the Cillian Murphy movie came out, which is going to be like an Oscar buzzy type of movie. And it's a short, perfect like holiday book that's serious but short and simple, and one of the most recommendable books ever. I don't know if you'd love it or not. I think you would because she's just such a good writer.
I've read it.
But I bought it with Foster for my mom, and she loved it. It's like one of those types of books, but it delivered. It's amazing. Number 3 is Eastbound by Milas de Carangal. One of the first books I read all year. It's perfect. Another really short one about a soldier trying to escape being conscripted from the Russian army. It's all on one train, and it's just like the mood of it is perfect. He meets this woman who tries to help him escape the army, and it's just so good. It's like one long scene. Number 2 is House of Mirth, Edith Wharton. I feel like this is a lot of people's favorite book ever, and like a lot of the books from that time period, it's a slow burn, but I got the hype totally by the end. The last 7,500 pages of this book was like the most thrilled I was all year.
I've been trying to read this book. I've like gotten like 20 pages in and stopped, and like I've got to start from the beginning and read it again. But
I'm a sucker for these books. So like if you don't like Jane Austen or whatever, like I loved Age of Innocence, which is also by Edith Wharton, and this one was even slower. But to me, as classics go, it's very JRVP because it's very hardcore by the end. I loved it. If you're into that sort of thing. And then number 1 is Martyr. So I pumped it up. Anthony pumped it up. The plot seems a little beside the point. It's just beautiful writing, but a newly sober son of Iranian immigrants trying to finish his book, goes to New York, starts meeting with this artist. A lot of similar themes, I think, to Biography of X, but in a totally different way. It's poetic. It's caustic. The surprise was awesome. Very human.
I will
very
shout
cool.
out Biography of X was on my top 10 list last year, as was Chin Gang All-Stars. But Martyr, and I'll say this, one more thing about Martyr to recommend it. I hate reading about addiction in literature, and I love this. This did not bother me. The way he did it, the way the guy did it was so great that, again, one of the perfect books of the year is Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. Aaron, you want to shout out anything for this year?
Well, I've read 3 books.
Name them.
Heat 2.
Yep.
Why We Love Baseball.
Didn't read that.
Oh, I bought the Why We Love Football which is like the sequel for Walker.
Yeah. And I'm reading the Charlie Hustle Pete Rose book.
That's a great one.
I mean, he should be able to recommend all 3 of his books. Would you just get to recommend all 80 something? That's a lot. That's a lot of books.
I didn't recommend all 80
I'm
something.
just saying.
But if I'd only read 8, I would have recommended 8 out of 10. That's good, Aaron. Good on you. Are you going to buy a Pete Rose baseball?
No.
No, me neither. And that was
Choo-choo.
Recommendation Station. Guys, you've convinced me. I'll be back for at least one more. We'll see you. We'll see you tonight, and then we got a week off, and then we'll be back. Excuse me, for a Tuesday episode, and I assume we'll do the 3. I assume the 3, and that's it. There's a chance we'll keep going and doing more. All Things Comedy wants more. Everybody wants more except me. I think I'm going to give you 3, which is 2 more. So thank you, and Debbie, get me out of here.
Whoa, Nelly Furtado. That's a spicy meatball. Is that okay, Greggy?